Hey guys, welcome. This is Brad Krantz. Thanks for tuning in today to my Monday morning leadership, where guess what? Look behind me. Leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. And that's really the focus of my talk today. Probably one of my favorite quotes from John Maxwell. I'm going to expand on that a little bit and talk about leadership as influence and 7 characteristics that help build influence. It's actually going to be based somewhat again on his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, which I actually read back in July of 99, as I talked about last week. So we're going to run with that. True leadership, I think we know. First of all, let me talk about leadership as influence, nothing more, nothing less, and define that. Obviously, that could be good or bad. It could be positive or negative. I'm talking about leadership in its positive sense here, okay? So to clarify that, true leadership can't be awarded, appointed, or assigned, okay? It only comes from influence, and that can't be mandated. It's got to be earned. I think that's a key point here. The only thing a title can buy, and this is interesting, a little time, either to increase your level of influence with others or to undermine it, guys. I think we could probably all say from experience, we've seen that to be so true. Again, leadership is influence. And just because someone has a title, that doesn't mean a person is a leader, guys. Okay, we need to be clear. That's what's called, John Maxwell talks about the 5 levels of leadership. That's called positional leadership. Your boss, your manager, whoever it might be, is going to have a title and they're managing you. They might be leading you, but that doesn't make them a leader. And that's where I think a lot of times, especially in the corporate world, the distinction between leadership and management gets blurred. They're not synonymous. I don't believe they are. There's distinctions between them, and we need to make sure we're clear about that. That's one of the things that I wanted to bring up. But when it comes to identifying a real leader, Maxwell says the proof of leadership is found in the followers, right? Leaders, and I'll say true leaders, create followers, right? If somebody's not creating followers, then they are not really a leader, are they? So an organization team is only as great as its people. We've heard that. There's many myths, obviously, about leadership, that people tend to fall into a trap of managing their team. And that's a key word there, without influencing them, right? Again, your typical, I'll say, boss manager thing. So many people are bosses, but they know nothing about leading people. They don't even have people skills. I've talked about that. But they only fall in because they have to, because they sign their paycheck or something like that, but they're not really influencing them. And they become complacent without getting the job done. And unfortunately, rather than growing the company or team and the people involved, and that happens far too often, in my life, where there was management, there was weak leadership, but really no growing of your district, your company, or your people involved. And guys, that's where I'm going to talk about this next week at the end. To succeed, we've got to stand as leaders in our teams, our organizations, regardless of position, and influence the influencers. Okay. And there's several factors that can contribute to an emerging leader here. And again, these are highlighted in John Maxwell's book, but from leadership as influence. Okay. But how do you develop the influence? So there's some characteristics, some factors I want to go through here real quick. He said, number one, character, who they are, right? Guys, character matters. I know we have a lot of times society, politics in that. Character doesn't matter. Baloney. That's it. It does. True leadership always begins with the inner person. Okay, the character of a leader is going to filter into the entire organization, its team, its employees, if it's in the corporate arena, and a great character will create potential for great organization, but it all begins with the leader's heart. And I'll say lack of character will filter down negatively. 2 is relationships, who they know. Okay, build the right kinds of relationships with the right people, and you can become the real leader in an organization, a team. Okay, in your sphere of influence, you've got to develop deep, meaningful relationships that go beyond seeing someone daily because you simply work with them in the same office, in the same work environment, whatever, right? Relationships grow loyalty, influence, and ultimately the business, guys. Keep that in mind. It's all about relationships. I think too often those get overlooked in the quest for, making a buck, or getting a return, quarterly profits, et cetera, okay? 3, knowledge, what they know. Okay, here's another factor that influences or grows your influence or can build it. Whenever, maybe someone's new to an organization, I call it management, but walking around, spend a lot of time doing homework before you try to take the lead. And it's so simple, but so many people don't do it. Walk around, ask people questions, find out what's going on, get a sense of feel, what's going right, what's not going right. How can we improve, right? A new environment brings about questions to be answered. It should, if you're paying attention. By seeking knowledge before demanding a leadership position, leaders have a chance to learn first and lead second. Critical, guys. 4, on building influence is intuition. It's what they feel. So leaders seek to recognize and influence intangibles such as energy, morale, timing, and momentum, right? Leaders see the past the obvious realms into realms that others can't. Okay, this impacts the ability of an organization as well as people around them, as they can steer momentum down the best path with the most reward. So intuition is part of it too. And 5, experience, where they've been, guys. This is critical. The greater the challenges that you'll face as a leader, that you faced in the past, the more likely followers are to give you a chance in the present, right? I won't go into this situation, but had somebody who's brand new, no prior leadership management experience whatsoever, trying to lead a company, guys. I call it a fool's errand. It's like, are you kidding me? You've got to have experience, especially someone now my age, for my background, 60 years old. You better have some experience before I'm going to follow you, right? I make sure people know what they're talking about before I follow them. Leaders face obstacles, right? We know that it could be in the office, at home, in their personal lives, however, through overcoming difficulties. Leaders grow in great ways. And I'll call this life experience. If you don't have a lot of life experience, it's going to be tough to get followers because you can't relate to stuff they've gone through, are going through, or they're going through. By navigating through multiple tough experiences, and I'll say life, followers will likely have more respect for where leaders have been and where they can take their organization or team in the future, right? You want to follow somebody through a minefield. You want to follow somebody who knows the way through safely, right? And that's called experience. Critical. 6, past success, what they've done. When you extend yourself, you took a risk and succeeded, followers probably had another reason to trust your leadership ability and listen to what you had to say, right? Because you've had some success. You're not talking from theory. So past success obviously doesn't guarantee future success, but find ways to take on challenges and excel in them. And soon you'll be presented with new responsibilities and leadership opportunities. And 7th, guys, ability, right? This will influence your ability to be an influencer, what they can do. The bottom line for followers is really what a leader is capable of, right? They want to know whether that person can lead the team to victory or to success, right? Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Show that you can lead a team, organization to victory, and you'll have shown that you can positively influence, right? And this is what I'm talking about, your followers in the organization, right? So for many of us, we have the opportunity to lead in some capacity. However, to maximize our influence, we've got to continually grow in these 7 factors. Okay, so here's a question I want to leave you with. Of the 7 factors that I listed here, which one or ones do you need to invest in the most? Let me know your thoughts. And if this was helpful to you, I hope this video added some value to you. Join me next week as I talk about my story and how leaders empower others, guys. You feel free to connect with me also on social media. Thanks for joining me today. Have an awesome day, guys. Have an awesome Monday. Go and grow. Bye-bye.